Hi everyone, I'm June, and the topic I want to talk today is measuring the influence of unmanned aerial vehicles on a daily penguin. First, I want to introduce what is unmanned aerial vehicles and a daily penguin. Unmanned aerial vehicles, it also calls UAV. You may not know the UAV in words, but if I show you the picture, you must know what is UAV. And a daily penguin, they are a kind of penguin. In this research, the UAV has recently experienced a fast increase, but there is a lack of detailed experiments about the impacts of UAV on the penguin. So we have to do this research to know the impact of UAV on the penguin. In this research, we would control UAV to fly a big penguin with three flight speeds: horizontal, vertical, and habituation flight. Then we would record if we are disturbed or undisturbed. We want to know the relationship between disturbance level and altitude by using horizontal flight and vertical flight. And we want to know the relationship between short-term habituation and flight repeat number by using habituation flight. And we will talk about habituation flight first. In three flight schemes, vertical it means take off, and control means the time before takeoff. It also means the time UAV on ground. And transfer means from takeoff to a start point. And AGL means above ground level. It also means height or altitude. In first flight scheme, habituation flight, it's experimented twice. And before experiments, UAV will take off 30 meters away from the penguin and fly through transfer to a start point. And UAV will fly 50 meters in 10 meters AGL and repeat 10 times and 17 times. Before experiment, we can get a result that short-term habituation did not happen, and there is no correlation between the disturbance level and the flight repeat number. So we know the relationship between short-term habituation and flight repeat number is no correlation. Second, I want to show you the horizontal flight. It experiments 6 times. Before experiment, UAV will take off 50 meters away from penguin. Then UAV will fly through transferway to the start point. In experiment, UAV will fly 80 meters in 50 meters AGL and fly 80 meters in 40 meters AGL and so on. And before experiment, we can get a result. S level is altitude, transfer, and control. Y level is number of disturbance penguin in percentage. And this figure called box plot. This means maximum, this means minimum, and this means median. From this figure, we can see in control, the disturbance level was low. during the transfer to the 20 meters, the disturbance level was higher than control, but it was maintained. And in 50 meters and 10 meters, the disturbance level increases to a high level. Now, I want to show you the third flight scheme, vertical flight. It will experiment 6 times. Before experiment, UAV will take off 50 meters away from the penguin. Then UAV will fly through transferway to the start point. In experiment, UAV will fly from 50 meters to 10 meters and fly away. After experiment, we can get a similar result with horizontal flight. In control, the disturbance level was low. During transfer to 20 meters, the disturbance level was higher than control, but is maintained. And below 20 meters, the disturbance level was high. Now, let me compare the horizontal and vertical flights. And we will discuss the reason. Below 20 meters AGL, we can see the disturbance level was high, but in the vertical flight, the disturbance level was higher than horizontal flight. We think there are 3 reasons. The first reason is sound volume. Research observed the sound of the UAV is higher during vertical flight than horizontal flight. And the second reason is vertical flight is similar to the predatory bird attacks below 20 meters. And predatory bird means a bird can attack penguin and eat baby penguins, like suga. And the third reason is in vertical flight, the UAV continuously gets close, like wind. But in horizontal flight, the UAV gets close to the penguin and then flies away later. So it would cause less reaction to the penguins in horizontal flight. And then we see during transfer to the 20 meters, its turbulence was maintained, but penguin still has reaction even at 50 meters. 50 meters is about 16 floors. The reason is flight predictor like suga, they move the most quiet, but a UAV creates a noticeable levels of noise. So penguin will respond to this unknown sound. So even in 50 meters, the disturbance level was penguin still has reaction. And in control, we can see penguin still was disturbed in control. That means the 50 meters of takeoff distance is not enough. So we know the relationship between disturbance level and altitude is disturbance increasing with lower altitude. And here we see the conclusion. In horizontal and vertical flight, 50 meters of takeoff distance and 50 meters of height are not enough for penguin, and the disturbance increases with lower altitude. And in habituation, we can know the short-term habituation did not happen. And the thing we have to do is establish UAV regulations and prevent negative effects of UAV use on the bird colonies like Adelie penguin. This is my lecture. Thank you for your listening.
Peter, how's your comments, questions?
I don't know what. Can you explain horizontal and horizontal flag and what does it mean?
What's this?
Yeah.
Explain, repeat this question.
In the result, we can see the
Repeat his question. First,
what is vertical flight and horizontal flight. The vertical flight higher distributed level mean.
finish.
And higher distributed level in vertical flight below 20 meters is because vertical flight in vertical flight the UAV is continuously get close to the penguin, and in horizontal flight UAV get close to the penguin, but then they fly away. So the horizontal flight can cause less reaction to the penguin because they fly away later.
Jenny,
What kind of reaction you will define as the turbulent level?
What kind of reaction?
Reaction
And
you will define as the turbulent level.
oh,
Okay.
repeat.
what kind of reaction is disturbance level? Then we use behavioral analysis and reaction like cleaning, breathing, and speeding. We will consider they are undisturbed. And the reaction like move of head, attention to the surrounding, against the UAV or other penguins or lift its nest, we consider that is disturbed.
Peter,
Why do we have to do this experience? Like, I don't think you have a good experience on the background because we can do UAV on human or something. Why do we have to do on the penguins?
repeat.
Why do we have to do a research in Adelie penguin? In Antarctic, the UAV has recently experienced, and in wild animal, we don't know the influence of the UAV on wild animals, so we do this with wild animals and not human. And why we choose Adelie penguin? Why we choose Adelie penguin? That is because Adelie penguins are common in the maritime Antarctic, and there are so many UAV flights in Antarctic. So we have to do this research. And Adelie penguin has already been the topic of UAV based in other research before. And Adelie penguin has the most penguin led the behavioral research. So we want to do this with Adelie penguin.
Camilla.
It's something like on the slide about a slide around the ending part. And that's a slide that says the flight is considered not happen. It's on the slide around the ending part. This is correct. No, there's a chart. A chart. Around the conclusion.
Around conclusions.
Yeah, this one. Is that at the bottom, habituation, and the conclusion is shorter habituation did not happen. I don't understand what that means.
First, I will talk about habituation, and we want to know if we fly repeat many times. If the penguin is headed to this, if we repeat many times, maybe some penguins will decrease in their reaction. But after experiment, we think if even we fly 17 times, the penguin didn't decrease their reaction to look at the UAV. So that means no correlation between repeat time and habituation.
Linus, thank you.
My name is Linus.
Alright, Linus.
You say 50 meter is a safety distance. You say 50 meters is not a safety distance, and how many meters is a safety distance?
Repeat.
50 meters is not safety distance, and 1 meters is safety meter. The conclusion, the experiment we also do the take off in 50 meters and the height of 50 meters, so we don't know the really safety meter is what.
Alright. Volunteer questions? One? Okay, what's your name? Monica. So what's your question?
Can you go back to the sugar and that one? It's
Previous.
yes. And you said the penguin for the voice is like sugar, but it's about the frequency or the volumes or what?
Frequency of the sound volume.
Repeat your question.
Do you mean it?
You said it's similar to the predatory bird, and I wonder it's about the frequency or the volumes.
What's your question?
She wants to know what it means similar to a predatory bird. It means sound or in 20 meters, the UAV, the size of UAV is similar to sugar. So we think penguins may look UAV and think it are sugar, the size.
So I think June gave a very good start. So I think she gave a very solid, very smooth presentation. So I think most of you could follow. I think the good part of her presentation was her slides were very easy to read. So I was standing at the back, and her fonts was large enough to read, and also with highlighted keywords and so on. And also from time to time, because her talk was about the flies, so you can see that she added the fly skin next to her data, so you know what control transfer were about. So these make her talk very easy to follow. But of course, there were several places where she can improve next time. So first, I think many of these points have been addressed or provided by the audience. For example, I will say at the beginning, please tell us more about the penguin. So why this study chose to study these penguins. And also you probably should tell us more about the use of UAV in study polar animals. So why should we study the influence of UAV, key points, to penguin, another key point? But here, looking at your introduction, these are just briefly, you just say, oh, this is UAV. And then here you say, UAV has recently experienced a fast increase. This sentence left no impression to the audience. We don't know, oh, what's that? Of course, we saw UAV from time to time, but what does that mean in polar research? And then here there's a term which I think you should explain further. So what is habituation? Please explain this term first. What is habituation? And then you explain the experiment. And I think there's a place where you say you wrote there was a typo. I can't find it anyway. There's a place where you wrote you can Control F and look for this. You have this. Okay? It should be the, you wrote THY. And then when you talk about the habituation, before you talk about your results, I would say, because right now you put it at a supplementary slide, but I would say this is actually the part that can make your talk even more interesting. Because here we are talking about animal behavior. So if I were you, I would put them into my formal slides. Next time, I will do some cartoon to explain why this means undisturbed and why this means disturbed. So what kind of animal behavior this is, because I don't think everybody knows what agonistic is. So you have to explain this a little bit more, because these are the interesting parts. And then there's a term where the pronunciation can be corrected. I think you pronounced maximum. It should be maximum. And time's up. So, but overall, I think it's well presented, and furthermore, I think she connects her data well to her conclusions. So you see a clear connection in her flow of logic. And another key point is because she chose an easy paper, so it's really easy to follow. That makes everybody happy, right? So, okay, let's thank you.